When you look at the state of the San Francisco 49ers right now, it is impossible not to sense a wave of relief and excitement rolling through the fan base. After everything that unfolded last season, with that frustrating stretch that felt like it would never end, this group has managed to completely flip the script. Sitting at 8 wins and 4 losses after a primetime victory over a winning opponent, they have put themselves right back into the heart of the National Football Conference race and kept pace in a division that might be the toughest in the league. For a team that had to endure a painful rebuild in the offseason, fans have every reason to feel encouraged by what is unfolding. One of the biggest developments over the last couple of weeks has been the rise of this defense. Against Carolina, the unit showed a level of control that reminded everyone why expectations were high going into the season. The last 2 games revealed a completely different level of discipline, especially against the run, which was an area that desperately needed improvement after the rough outing against Arizona. Young players are starting to look more comfortable, the front is tightening up, and some individual names who struggled earlier in the year are finding their footing. That is exactly what you hope to see from a young defensive group in the middle of a playoff pursuit. On offense, things have not always been pretty, but glimpses of what this attack can become continue to show up. Brock Purdy had an uneven night, but the rest of the offense stepped up around him. Christian McCaffrey continued his incredible season and remains the heartbeat of this team every single week. George Kittle looks healthier than he has been in months, moving with that familiar burst fans always love to see. Ricky Pearsall feels on the verge of a breakout game, and at some point it seems inevitable that he will have the performance everyone has been waiting for. Purdy did manage to connect with Jawan Jennings on multiple key plays, which was a good sign heading into the next stretch of the season. One of the more underrated improvements has come from the offensive line. Early this year, protection was a major concern, especially on the left side, but the recent rotation at guard has stabilized things. Spencer Burford and Ben Barch have given the unit a lift, and even though the interior still has room to grow, it is clear that the group is trending upward. The return of John Feliciano has helped as well, giving the coaching staff a bit more flexibility up front, and overall the group looks far more comfortable than they did in the first month. This season has also highlighted the incredible work of a few individuals within the organization. Christian McCaffrey is in the thick of the race for Offensive Player of the Year, putting together one of the most complete seasons any running back has had in a long time. His workload is heavy, but his impact goes far beyond touches. You can feel the entire momentum of the game shift when the ball is in his hands. On the sideline, Kyle Shanahan has delivered one of his best coaching seasons, guiding a young roster through major transitions and keeping them competitive despite losing crucial veterans in the offseason. And on the defensive side, Robert Saleh has orchestrated one of the most detailed and well-prepared units in football, elevating younger players and creating an identity built on speed and controlled aggression. Considering everything the franchise dealt with over the past year, the position they are in right now is remarkable. Many starters from previous seasons were let go, not because they lacked talent, but because the organization needed to reset financially and shift toward youth. Moving on from so many familiar faces forced the team to absorb large amounts of dead money. And on paper, it looked like this could be a transitional year with modest expectations. Instead, they hit the end of November with 8 wins and a chance to climb the National Football Conference standings even further. They currently sit in the wild card picture, but the gap between them and the top teams is small. The Los Angeles Rams have 9 wins and 2 losses, just 1 game ahead, and the Seattle Seahawks are sitting close as well. San Francisco already split their season series with the Rams and still has another showdown ahead with Seattle, which means this race is far from over. In a conference where every contender has shown vulnerabilities, the 49ers are right in the mix with a path to climb higher. The National Football Conference West, once again, is proving to be a brutal division. With the Rams at 9 wins, the Seahawks at 8 wins and 3 losses, and San Francisco at 8 wins and 4 losses. The race has the feel of a 3-horse sprint that will not slow down anytime soon. The Niners already took down Seattle once, and they have the chance to do it again in a matchup that could have massive playoff implications. With the way the schedule lines up, They're going to have opportunities to strengthen their position, but it will require consistency and resilience. What stands out most this season is the perseverance of the group. Every time they have been doubted, they responded. Every time injuries piled up, they found new contributors ready to step in. Younger players who were viewed as developmental pieces have suddenly stepped into bigger roles and shown signs that they can become foundational members of the roster. The team has rebuilt itself on the fly and still found a way to remain dangerous. That is not something you see every year in the National Football League. Looking ahead at what is coming next, the road continues to challenge them. A tough trip to Cleveland is looming, and the cold weather late in the season is always something that can influence the style of play. Their bye week arrives in Week 14, which could not have come at a better time. They have been banged up, bruised, and grinding through a demanding schedule. So a late season break is a gift that many teams do not get. A win heading into that rest week would set them up perfectly for the home stretch of the season. As the schedule moves forward, the focus now shifts to what awaits the 49ers on the road, and Cleveland is never an easy destination regardless of the time of year. The cold rolls in early, the wind cuts through the stadium, and the atmosphere forces every team to adjust the way they play. Late November and early December in that city feel like a completely different sport, where every throw becomes heavier, every run becomes more important, and every mistake is magnified by the freezing air. For a team like San Francisco that has experienced both highs and lows in harsh weather, the challenge becomes not just outplaying the Browns, but rising above the elements themselves. The matchup is especially intriguing because of the rookie quarterback Cleveland has turned to. Shedeur Sanders brings an energy that few young players possess, drawing national attention every time he steps onto the field. Whether people follow him because they admire his talent or because they want to pick apart his flaws, the reality is that he makes every game he touches feel bigger. His ability to extend plays and throw on the move has given Cleveland flashes of a spark they were desperately missing earlier in the season. Even though the numbers from his first official start did not jump off the page, the poise he showed while working with the top unit for the first time hinted that he could be a problem for defenses who underestimate him. The moment is never too big for him, and that alone changes the dynamic of this upcoming matchup. For the 49ers defense, facing a rookie does not mean the game will be simple. The Browns might be struggling offensively, ranking near the bottom of the league in yards and points, but their defense is one of the most tenacious units in football. While Cleveland's offense has struggled to stay on the field, the defense has carried them week after week, allowing the team to grind out games even when things look bleak. Jim Schwartz continues to build a defense defined by physicality, discipline, and constant pressure. He challenges quarterbacks mentally and physically, disguising coverages and calling aggressive fronts that force quick decisions. This is not the type of opponent San Francisco can afford to overlook, particularly with the weather working against them. Brock Purdy will be at the center of attention, and the conversation surrounding him grows louder every time he steps into windy or wet environments. Throughout his career, the elements have consistently made things difficult for him. He has had games where the ball never seemed to leave his hand the right way, where the grip fell off, or where timing was disrupted by the conditions. The memories of previous struggles in cold stadiums remain fresh, from the snow-heavy game in Buffalo to the sloppy afternoon in Cleveland a couple of seasons ago, when the passing attack never found its rhythm. This upcoming matchup brings all those concerns back into focus, and the expectation will be for him to respond differently this time. The 49ers do not need him to be perfect. They need him to be efficient, controlled, and smart with the football. The biggest problem he will face is Myles Garrett, who is in the middle of a historic season. There are great pass rushers, and then there are seasons where a player looks like he is operating in a completely different universe. Garrett is in that second category right now. He has accumulated sack after sack, pressure after pressure, forcing offenses to collapse their entire game plan around his presence. His explosiveness off the line, his power through blocks, and his ability to bend around the edge have made him nearly impossible to slow down. When you look at the fact that he is closing in on the all-time single-season sack record, it becomes clear just how dominant he has been. San Francisco's offensive line has its hands full, And there is no scenario where the game ends well for the Niners if Garrett is allowed to take over. This means the tackle play has to be sharp from the opening whistle. The unit has performed better this year than many expected, especially with improved consistency from players who once struggled. Colton McKivitz, for example, has taken noticeable steps forward, showing far more confidence and technique than he displayed in the past. But the challenge he faces this week is unlike most he has encountered. He has handled solid defensive ends, but Garrett is not simply solid. He is the type of player who turns a single mistake into a game-changing moment. If Cleveland decides to line Garrett up against McKivitz repeatedly, that matchup could dictate the entire game. The coaching staff knows this, the offensive line knows this, and Purdy certainly knows it. The strategy will revolve around slowing down the most disruptive defensive player in football. Complicating things further is the cold forecast, which threatens to turn this into an old-school slugfest. Temperatures hovering near the mid-30s, slick grass, and a wet football are a recipe for a low-scoring battle. Games like this usually come down to who can force a turnover at the right moment or who can control the clock with a steady ground attack. Christian McCaffrey becomes even more important in those situations. His ability to run through contact, cut in tight spaces, and create plays out of nothing gives the 49ers a crucial advantage. When the passing game becomes limited by weather, players like him become the difference between a grinding win and a frustrating loss. Another layer to this matchup is the history between Shanahan and Schwartz. These two have crossed paths multiple times, and the defensive mind of Schwartz has frequently found ways to disrupt Shanahan's rhythmic, motion-heavy scheme. The numbers in their matchups show a clear trend. Points are hard to come by. It forces the 49ers to expect a battle, not a track meet. It forces every drive to matter, every yard to be earned. And it forces Shanahan to dig deep into his toolbox to find ways to create openings against a defense that rarely gives them. As tough as the Browns' matchup looks, the long-term picture for the 49ers remains promising. The defense should be able to handle Cleveland's offense, which ranks near the bottom of the league in almost every category. Their struggles on third down, their inability to consistently reach the red zone, and their lack of explosive plays make them highly dependent on defensive stops and field position. If the Niners can force Sanders into difficult situations, the matchup becomes far more manageable. Still, nothing about this game can be taken lightly. The Browns' defense alone can tilt the balance. The weather can neutralize advantages. The crowd can create chaos. And the rookie quarterback, with all his unpredictability, can hit a big play that shifts momentum. This is the kind of late-season matchup that tests a team's patience, discipline, and ability to adapt when conditions refuse to cooperate. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill is on fire, and this time all eyes are on Levi Stadium. Whispers around the league suggest that the San Francisco 49ers are about to make a seismic shakeup to their offensive arsenal. Word on the street? Tyreek Hill, the explosive speedster known as Cheetah, could be suiting up in scarlet and gold, and if it happens, the NFL might not be ready for the chaos he brings. Insiders say the 49ers front office has been quietly plotting to add a game-changing weapon to an already potent attack. Hill's ability to stretch the field vertically is unmatched, and pairing him with San Francisco's precision passing game could turn defenses inside out. Coaches around the league are reportedly already adjusting their scouting notes, speculating how the team might unleash Hill in various formations, from deep bombs to jet sweeps that leave defenders grasping at air. Fans at Levi Stadium are buzzing with anticipation. The thought of seeing Hill dashing past defenders along the sidelines, breaking tackles with his signature acceleration, is enough to make season tickets even more valuable. Social media is ablaze with mock lineups and highlight reels, imagining what could be if the league's fastest receiver joins a team hungry for offensive dominance. Even rival fan bases can't help but whisper about the nightmare matchup this could create. Rumors like this never come without skepticism, of course. Executives and insiders caution that nothing is finalized, and negotiations in the NFL world are notoriously complex. But if even a fraction of these whispers are true, Levi's Stadium could become the epicenter of some of the most electrifying football action in recent memory. One thing is clear. The mere possibility of Tyreek Hill donning a 49ers uniform has ignited excitement, speculation, and debate across the league, leaving everyone wondering just how explosive the offense could become. Whether it's deep touchdowns, jet sweeps, or yards after catch that make defenders look foolish, the idea of cheetah in San Francisco has fans and pundits alike holding their breath. For now, it's all talk, but in the NFL, talk can turn into highlight reel reality faster than a Tyreek Hill sprint downfield. Levi's Stadium might just be about to witness something unforgettable. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.